for me yet?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Hi everybody, welcome to Qyjari's Curious Crafts. Today we're gonna make an amazing dwarf.
Good day!
They call him Alex on his stream too, so it's okay. Now I can undo all the makeup I just spent 15 minutes applying.
Simply
That's the last
smashing!
time you see my face on the stream.
Welcome to the stream!
And there you go.
Hi everybody, welcome back. Today we're gonna make this incredible, fun dwarf hut with a removable roof and a door that opens and closes. Yay! Hello. Can they see that?
We've got our camera set up a new way, so it'll be easier on everyone.
Yes, I rigged it to the ceiling.
Yes.
I borrowed borrowed is a strong word. I stole it from my sister, and it's staying on my ceiling until she comes to reclaim it. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, we're making this hut for Barsum. He's a little dwarf I have here. He's a character in one of the campaigns that I've written. And he needed a mountaintop mesa. He is a stone cutter. So he was on top of this mountaintop mesa to carve two faces into the sides of the mountain. And he needed a place to huddle down in the evenings. So we're going to build that. And in order to do that, we need the following tools. Of course, I can't not start with my, oops, I can turn this right side up now, right?
Yeah.
With my very trusty hot glue gun and some clear glue sticks. We also need regular glue, all-purpose glue, like Elmer's. I use a craft bond, which is a little thicker, but it works much better. We also need a wire cutter, a sturdy cutting mat, a pair of scissors. Oh, I thought we forgot the scissors again. We also need a box cutter or an X-Acto knife. We need a Dremel with the grinding bit or the cutting bit. We used this 2 weeks ago when we made the fire giants. We found this invaluable.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it worked great. We need paintbrushes, which are already on the table. We need needle nose pliers. We need clothespins. These are our poor man's clamps that we'll use to hold some glue in place. We'll need a flathead screwdriver. Just a small one's fine. We'll need a metal ruler. And we'll need some sort of marking device. I'll use my, you can use a pencil, but I'll probably use this ruler. I mean this, whatever this tool is.
That thing.
I need something to drink. Okay, so now as far as materials that you need for this project, we have... I miss Jamie.
He's here.
Well, he needs to be here. Okay, so for this project you need some foam insulation. Now I got this at a local hardware store. It's about a 1/2 inch thick, and it's pink like the Panther, the company that sells this kind of insulation. It comes in a 4 foot by 8 foot huge section. Obviously they intend to put this on walls. We're going to use it as the base of our terrain. And it's easy to carve, and they will cut it down for you at the store, which I did to fit it into my car. It has a clear coating on each side that we're going to remove because we don't need that. If you don't want to spend the money on a large 4 foot by 8 foot section of insulation, you can go to a craft store, a larger craft store that has a lot of art supplies, and you can get, it's like poster board with a foam center, and get the 1/2 inch thick. It really works. but it does have a paper coating on it that's a little harder to remove, so that's why I like this stuff. And I will use this, I'm sure, for many other projects. You will also need a piece of cardboard. It just needs to be 1 ply.
Really quick.
Yes.
Is there fiberglass in that stuff?
No, I asked, and you could, you know, wear protective. You don't need goggles or anything. Yeah, no, you don't need. You can wear gloves if you wanted to deal with it, but no, it does not. It's not like the insulation that you would put, that loose insulation that you would put in your walls and stuff.
Okay.
This is pretty safe, I guess. I asked, and they didn't seem to warn me about anything, so. Okay, continuing. Just a 1 ply piece of cardboard, at least 4 inches wide. I'll show you why in a little bit. You'll need several 1/8-inch thick twigs, and one that's about a 1/4 inch. I did some calculations, and according to my calculations, an 1/8 inch in D&D world is about 7.5 inches. So that makes a good size. Let's see. Yeah, a good size log for your cabin. I've been calling it a hut, but really it's more like a log cabin.
Well, I mean, in terms of size in D&D world, it's like what, a 15 by 10?
Yeah, 15 by 10,
yeah,
exactly.
It's like a small cabin.
Yeah, so a small cabin. So you need a bunch of these, and certain sizes you'll need, and you can see that I've already pre-cut some of these, but I will explain how that's done as the stream progresses. But there need to be a lot of these, and you can have extra because if you're like me, you're going to slice through them and mess up on a bunch, but that's okay. We can fix that in post-production. You'll also need a bunch of brown hued colored paints. I chose these 3, and one of them is sand colored, which you'll need also. That's for the sanding process. Ooh. Speaking of that, you will need natural colored sand. You could get darker sand if that's what your terrain calls for, but I use just play sand. And we have a ton of that too. You will need blended turf. Now you can make this from scratch, but I chose to use a coupon at the local craft store and buy my own. It's a lot easier, and I do like the way it covers much better. It spreads out a little more. Oh, I turned this upside down again. I gotta remember not to show it upside down. I even removed that note from the board.
Oh.
Don't show. I'm showing it upside down, and they're going, turn that right side up again. Okay.
Look at it as if you were looking at it.
Yes, that's what I'll do. You'll also need a variety of natural colored aquarium rocks. About the size, I'll put these in my hand, about, tiny, little itty bitty ones. Because that would be pretty large to a small, dwarf gentleman.
Dwarf.
I do have some little bit larger ones that I may use, but I probably won't. I like these. These match what I'm doing better. You'll also need to save, and it's kind of hard to see here, but you'll need to save all the little wood chips that we use, that we'll gather when we cut up our log. And that's just for a little sort of a vanity thing that we're going to do later. Let's see, what else? The wood chips, and then, the greenery. Then you'll also need a variety of greenery. If you tuned in for the shambling mound, you see I've saved all the extras that we used on that shambling mound, and I've gathered them here in this little scrap bin, and we're just going to use these to put around the edge of the his yard. My story goes that Barsom has long abandoned this hut, so I have some moss growing up the side, and it's kind of overgrown. So that's where we're going with that. If you choose to have yours lived in, maybe you'll clean it up a little bit better than I've done for this one, for my story. Okay, let's get started. You will need 4 3.5-inch sticks, and these are the 1/8 inch thick ones. See if I manage to save 4 out of this pile. If not, I'm sure I can cut some more. So you'll need 4 of those. You'll need 7 of the 2.5-inch sticks. And it's approximate, but they do kind of need to line up. We're going to pull a Pa Ingalls here, and we're going to line them up to create a real log cabin. Okay, so there's 7 of those. And you'll need 8 of the 1 1/4 inch ones. And these will go on both sides of either side of the door frame. So it looks like I don't have an extra one of these, but I will cut more. I'll show you how to do that. So once you have these general sizes, save all these because you'll need them. But once you have all these ready to go, or cut out in those sizes I just gave, you'll need to then create the notch. And again, like I said, we're going to pull up pot angles and make a little house on the mountain mesa top. You can do that two ways. You can either, oh, there's one. You can either use your box cutter, or you can use the Dremel. Now, I discovered that the Dremel causes a lot of sawdust, and that's very messy, and it could be a fire hazard. So this is a little more difficult. So I am going to show you the way I've done all these. Let me put my safety glasses on and my reading glasses because I'm old. And I'm gonna go in about is my head in the way? No. Okay, good. I'm gonna go in about 1/8 of an inch from the end, and I'm just gonna push in, and it's gonna take a little back and forth on each side to create this.
If you can help it, do your best not to cut towards yourself.
I know, I need band-aids. Where's Jamie? I need band-aids. Okay, so yeah, that's why I pre-cut these, because I knew this is a kind of a
tedious task.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I want to make the notch about 1/8 inch wide.
Your real tranquility. You said that looks dangerous.
It is. Sorry. I miss you, bro. Okay, so I'm going to do that on both sides of this stick, this side and this side, but I don't have to do it on this end. The 1 1/4 inch ones only need to have it on one side. I mean, to get technical, they should have it on the other side, and then I should have tiny little itty bitty 1/4 inch ones to put in between, but as my nana used to say, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference on a trotting horse.
And forgive me if you've said this already, but a good way to kind of visualize this process is look at Lincoln logs.
Oh yes, I did. I put that in my PDF, but that's a good point. They do look like little tiny miniature Lincoln logs.
So that's a good way to kind of visualize what you're going for.
Exactly. Having a notch on each side. Okay. Alright, so we're not going to take any chances with death on that anymore, and we're just going to be done. I think I have enough. If not, I'll just carve more later. Okay, so now we've got our pieces ready to go. The next thing you'll need is to take one of the what is this one? 2.5 inch pieces, and you're gonna have to split it. Now this is just like an old-fashioned log splitting. I'm not gonna split this because I might save that because I've already notched it. I don't want to take a chance. You don't need a notched one. You just need one that you can split down the center. Let's see. Those are better for roof. Okay, so we're gonna take this one, and I'm gonna trim it to the size I need, which is right about here. Save that. Always save the little pieces. And we're gonna split it by starting in the center, like not in the very center, but along the edge. We're just gonna make a little slice there, turn it around, and then that's hard to see.
That is kind of hard to see.
I'm sure you're having more difficult than I am. And we're just gonna split it this way, and we're gonna put a lot of oomph into it.
Yeah, always cut away from yourself and have band-aids.
Band-aids ready, yeah. This one's really smaller than 1/8 inch, so it's taking a little bit more effort. But the good news is, ta-da! I already have one.
Well, hey, you showed how to do it. That's the important part.
Yes.
If you have a better way of doing it, by all means, let us know via Twitter or here or
I'm sure I will hear about it. Yes, that's fine. And that's great, because I love feedback. And then I just, of course, finished it, so now we're cool. So there's the piece I want. Okay, it took the embarrassment of someone telling me how to do it to actually do it. Okay, so now we are going to work on the base. And like I said, the base is the 6 by 6 inch foam piece, and we're gonna peel off this. Oh, that's loud. It sounds like a fart. And I think this side had it too, but I've already peeled that off. And what you want to do to start is, because it is harder to work with as you build stuff on it, we're gonna go ahead and trim the sides of this using a box cutter. Pardon me?
Is it already gridded?
No, it does look like it's been gridded, but it's not.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter what side you choose. I think they're both identical. But I'm gonna just go down the side and carve this sort of any mishmash of terrain I want.
Come on. This way more.
There. How's that?
Yeah, that works.
And this is fun. This is one of the more fun parts of this project, because you can really just decide how you want to do this and
shape it how you want.
Yeah, shape it. Maybe cut off a little part of the edge or something. Make it not so square looking. And give it some angles and divots and such. And you can go back and maybe even put a little well in there. Dig a well.
Dig a hole.
Maybe not in the middle. We need the middle. Don't dig a well in the middle.
Unless there's a well inside the house.
No, there's not. It's canon. Okay, so it's not a cannon or a whale. Okay, so now we've got, we can save all these little bits because that might help build stuff up. I chose on mine, and I'll take the roof off so it's easier to see. Right side up.
Mm-hmm.
I chose on, can they see that? Is that good?
That's very good, right there.
Okay, I chose to indent a little bit and put steps leading up to. So I've got 3 little steps there with the stones kind of cemented in place, and this little riser. I have an audience tonight. We have guests in town, and I just got the thumbs up because I got that word right. We had to look it up on Wikipedia. Neither of us knew what it was. Okay, so now we're gonna build the log cabin in the center-ish. It doesn't have to be perfect. And that's where the metal ruler comes in handy, because we're gonna use this screwdriver to mark it, or a pen or pencil. But we want to go about the width of, not the whole width of the starter log, but the distance between the center of the notches.
Jimmy just said, no, we need a shrubbery.
Shrubbery! Oh, we'll add the shrubbery later. So I'm gonna kind of center this, not, just wing it. I know people don't like that. Yeah, vaguely center. So right about there, and see how the ends of it come to the notches? That's what you want.
Okay, so from notch to notch.
Right, that's the distance you want to measure. So once that's there, now we're gonna measure the 2.5 inch side, and I'm not gluing anything, I'm just spacing it out. And this is why I didn't put specific measurements in the instructions, because once you cut a notch, it could cut a little bit shorter, a little bit longer, you don't know. So you want to wait and do this step when you get all the logs cut out. Okay, so I'm going to mark that there, and I'll just leave that there, and mark this one here. So that's where that would go. Now we're going to use, oh, it's like a smiley face.
It's a little face.
Oh.
And you're just pushing down, right?
Yeah, I'm just making an indent, and don't worry about it being perfect, because we're gonna indent the heck out of this later. Then this one on this side is for the door opening, but again, we can do that. Now, before I finish, I will show you that what I did before I finish putting that part in. I'm going to show you that I did make a bit of a indent here, just so I remember that that's where I want to put the door and where I want to put the pathway. I may not make steps for this purpose of this demonstration, because it does take a lot longer, but I will create a stone path to the door so you can see kind of how the process is done. Okay, so now we're going to glue in using the regular all-purpose glue. I would suggest not using the glue gun for this step, and the reason why is because whenever you use any hot glue on styrofoam of any kind, it could be foam insulation, it could be the foam styrofoam that you use for flower making, silk flower arrangements, that kind of thing, it gives off a toxin. So you don't want to use a hot glue because it's so hot it kind of melts it.
Right.
And
like
so,
melting plastic.
yeah, unfortunately I have to use this, which may take a little longer to dry, but that's okay. All right. We used so much glue for those fire giants 2 weeks ago. I have no glue left. Thanks, Jamie. Okay. So,
We should donate like $5.
yeah, he better for my glue fund. Okay, so I'm gonna place this here.
And you're
And-
doing the ones that were cut in half, right?
Which one?
Are you gluing the ones that were cut in half?
No, these are we didn't cut any of these in half. The ones that were about to be, where'd I put them? Here they are. And again, they have to be measured. These go here because the
Okay.
bottom part of this would be too hollow. Now you could hollow out the thing somewhere, but this is kind of how they did it in the old age. They did cut a log in half, so we are emulating Pa Ingalls here.
Okay.
These are too long, so I'm going to trim them.
Speaking of glue, Jamie says I buy it by the gallon now.
Yeah, I probably need to do that too. Okay, so we've got these are gonna go here. I like this project because I can be as messy as I'd like to be because it all straightens out at the end. Okay. And again, I want to make sure that these notches line up with these sticks line up with these notches.
Right.
Right. Okay. I missed on the glue there, but again, we'll use it later. And then,
Add to the authenticity.
there you go. Here. And, oh, that piece is so sad looking. It needs to go here. Okay, so there we've got the base of it. It's a little crooked, but that's okay. He built it by himself. He's proud of the work he did. So now we have the two half pieces here, and I say half, they were split down the center of that stick. Two of the 1 1/4 inch pieces here, and that makes the door, and the full length 3 1/2 inch piece here. We don't have any windows in here. That would take a whole nother level of work. So if you want to try a window, go for it. But I'm gonna stick with no windows. It's a mountaintop mesa that's very snowy and cold, so they probably needed some protection. He needed some protection from the elements. Okay, so just like Pa Ingalls did back on Little House on the Mesa, we're gonna stack the logs, and just like he did, just like Lincoln logs. Just like we were playing like a kid. I'm stacking each layer before I glue them carefully to make sure that they are the right size. This is why you want to. Whoops, that's the wrong one. See, this is why I do this before I. That one needs to be trimmed. See, that's a little bit too long. I don't want to have to worry about having the glue down and then it being the incorrect size. So let me just give that a trim.
Yeah, he's a stone cutter. Wood cutting is foreign to him.
Exactly.
Jamie.
Yeah, Barsum Barenjager. That's the name of this particular stone cutter, and I think someone in the chat might recognize that surname. Well, that's gonna stick when it glues, so I'm not gonna worry about that. All right, so
Measurements, that's what we're going for.
Yeah. We're going for measurements. So let me glue these on. I set the same ones aside. And again, I would probably wait and let these at least set in a little bit. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to go ahead and wing it here.
He said, "Oh snap, my uncle! Don't kill him, please."
It's not, yeah.
Well, because we're in
Yeah.
his game that he ran.
His game, yep, nope, no, it's his grandfather.
You're just giving away information about our games.
I know, it's supposed to be the next, it's supposed to be the next campaign if we ever get around to it. Okay, here's a tip. For all you crafters out there, if you're running low on glue, don't set the glue bottle right side up in the middle of a project. Just lay it down.
Fair enough.
Okay. Now, your the logs will not, see if I can show this to you without them falling off. They will not meet. I mean, no one's that good of a wood carver. We're going to fill that in with a combination of glue and sand as it progresses.
There was mud and stuff. Like,
That's exactly how they did it back then. They used a mud, sort of a mortar that they used to chink, they called it. The sides of their, and floor too, of their house, of their cabin. Did I just do the wrong sides on that? That's good enough.
Well, I can't quite tell, actually.
That's good enough. He wasn't a picky man. Okay.
He wasn't proficient with woodcutting tools.
Exactly. He had proficiency in other things. Okay, so we're going to stack again. This is going to go on for about 4 layers. So I'll tell you while I finish this about the story of Barson Barenjager. He had one son named Skyholt. And Skyholt was in love with a woman named Calliope. He was smitten with her. He was very, very taken with her. Unfortunately, Calliope disappeared one day and never returned. So, he was very heartbroken. Skyholt was. To carry on the lineage of the Barenjager name, he remarried a woman named Brenna and had a son named Angus. Unfortunately, soon after that, Skyholt died of a broken heart. He missed his Calliope very much. So, when he died and all of his affairs were put in order, Brenna left with Angus to go live in Dyrebrook, which was just south of Zaman, which is where they're from, in my world. And from there, Angus grew up to be a fighter, and eventually made his way to Ravenscroft. Not Ravenloft. Don't worry, we're not going after Strahd. Or are we?
That's me. I'm in danger.
And now, his grandson, Barson's grandson, is working his way up to... Welcome!
Josh Mustang 69.
Thanks, Josh Mustang 69. You're the best. So then, Angus, with some fellow adventurers, are working their way to the top of this mountain, which is called Faces Peak, by the way, which they also call those who face each other. And it is a stone carving that Barson did of Skyholt, his son, and his first love, Calliope. And they basically face each other over a very big pass, under which orcs have been invading. So the goal is to use some black powder that they had delivered from the Netherwork mines in Dyrebrook, blow up Faces Peak so that those faces, all that work that Barson did on the mountain, would fall and block the Burund Pass and save the Obsidian Wilds from the invasion from the orcs in the north. And did I stall enough to actually finish this? Because I'm out of story at this point without giving away everything else.
Josh Mustang, he asked, are you new? And I said, apparently this is our 4th crafting stream.
Yay!
Every other Tuesday. And he says, okay, well, I don't see a lot of this, so I'm hooked.
Yay! I am
That's
glad.
fantastic.
Welcome to the Dragonkin family. Okay, so, ta-da! I don't know if I'll have a story to tell each week, though, Josh. Thanks for upping that ante.
Right? Yeah.
Now I'll have to come up with a story each week. Okay.
You may have just referred to the crafting.
Okay, yes, that's what it is. Okay, so I have completed the stacking of the logs up to about 4 levels in the back, 4 in the front, and 3 on the side. And the reason why you want to stop at 3 on the side is because we're going to put a triangular piece of cardboard, which is why our cardboard is coming in handy, here to create the peak of the roof and a brace.
Well, you can show the example from the.
I can do that.
Yeah.
You are so smart.
I try.
How's that?
That works.
Okay, so see, and next we're going to put this brace in here, and that helps keep the triangle part upright. But we can't install the triangle part yet because we have to do something special with raffia.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get some braces up first. We're going to make the braces a little, they can be a thin piece. They don't have to be as thick as the 1/8 inch. So if you have any extra scraps laying around, we're going to use those. And of course now, oh, here's one. No, that's not a good one. Oh, here's one. Okay, so we're going to want one for each side, and we're not going to trim it down. We're going to put it in there and then just use it as a brace and then trim it when the triangle's on it. Then it's another whole step. So let's do this first. Okay, that one was too...
That was just a run down.
It was a quick... You know what? I'm going to use this little half one because that side will get covered. So why not?
Oh, sure.
So I'm going to put this in here and stick it into the styrofoam.
It's probably wise to make sure you let the rest of it dry more.
Well,
and
yeah.
whatnot, you know.
Yeah, it needs to be dried. So we're going to do that.
For the sake of a 1-hour stream, you know.
Right.
And
we're gonna
along a little bit.
Stick this in here. I don't like that side. I'm going to use this side. It's thicker. Okay. And then we'll glue it in. Actually, you know what? Ah! And then a hurricane came and took out the entire village.
Of one hut.
Of one hut. Well, there's 2 now. Someone else came along and thought that was a quaint little subdivision. This is falling over. Okay.
You also have Eeyore's hut in here.
Aw, hi Eeyore.
Well,
Oh,
no.
it does look like Eeyore's hut.
I was gonna say the roof on the ground.
Hello.
Well, because remember, it's like a
It does.
Tent.
Yeah.
It's Eeyore's hut.
Hello. I don't know why everybody's so happy. Okay, because they're on Qyjari's Curious Crafts watching me craft. Yay.
Oh, there's no one here named Eeyore. I was referring to. Yeah.
Are you done?
Yes.
Can we continue?
We can continue. Carry forth.
Carry forth. Okay, so we're going to glue those against the wood here. And again, I would have waited until it was mostly dry before doing this. But here's where these handy dandy little clothespins. Nope. There we go. Come in handy to hold it in place. We're going to set this aside and let it... No whispering from the peanut gallery over there.
It was partly me too, I apologize.
Okay, so we're going to set that aside after we fix this little part here. Once again, remind me to put the glue laying down. Yeah, you can yell at me. Clover, that's your job.
What's up?
That's your job. Make sure that I don't put the glue upright.
So if it's not standing up
Oh, okay, good.
you get to be like, "Arr."
You can be like, Merm. Okay, I'm going to attach that there too. Okay. That's going to be a hot mess, but that's okay. We're going to see what happens. It's going to be the crookedest little hut ever. But you get the gist of it. That's important. Everyone's going to get the gist of how it's done.
It's the weaponsmith tried to make his own hut.
Pretty much, yes. Okay, so now I am going to work on looking at my script and looking at the next thing I did. Oh, here it is. Okay, so this is when we're going to use the cardboard. Now we're going to need, for the roof, we're going to need, I'll turn this upside down, you can see. We're going to use a stick in the center. How about that?
That's good.
Is that good? A stick down the center of this raffia, and then we're going to hold it in place with these 2 little pieces of flat cardboard. Okay? But we'll trim things as we need to. Right now, we're just going to cut them kind of long and see how it goes. So using you can use scissors, but I prefer to use my box cutter and a metal ruler and, of course, a cutting board. You'll want to make sure that you cut against the grain, I guess.
Okay.
You'll want to make sure that the corrugation is this way. the long part. I'll show you when I finish
I
cutting.
was gonna say, if I was watching this, I'd have to go Google that.
I know. Oh, this is the corrugation. This part here, the little zigzaggy part. Yeah.
Okay.
See, you learn something new every day.
Yeah.
So we're gonna cut this about a quarter inch, maybe less than a quarter inch, more than an eighth. Someone do that math. What's less than a quarter inch? More than an eighth. Yeah, quick Google it. Yeah, one of my guesses, the teacher. 5/16? 3. Yeah, 5/16 would be bigger than a quarter. Okay, so now we've got that, and now that's what I'm talking about. Make sure that you can see this little zigzag in the
yes.
this part, because it makes it more sturdy.
Right.
Of course, now the fun part is that we're gonna actually collapse it.
Go figure.
But it still makes it sturdy. It just won't make it as thick. So we're gonna collapse each of these. You don't need them that thick. Don't collapse the triangles on the next step. Just collapse these. Getting my workout.
Hey, SpongeBob.
Okay, now we're gonna make triangles. And again, I don't have a pattern for this. This is a,
The closest thing to a pattern you'll get is on Patreon.
well, and the PDF won't even have a pattern. It'll say measure the
know.
base, which is right. I'll do it here. I'll use the one that's not tipping over from lack of me supporting it. You're gonna wanna measure the base of your triangle
There you go.
here, like that, between the notches.
Between the notches.
Yeah,
Okay.
so on this one, it's about 2 inches, but again, everyone's different, so I'm gonna have to measure between the notches of this one. And it's about 1 7/8. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do 1 7/8. Now I'm gonna make a cardboard triangle. This one doesn't matter so much about the corrugation. There we go, 7/8. Now if old eyes can see what I'm doing here. Here we go. Okay, so I've got a piece of that, and it's gonna go between, not on the notches, between the wood, right at the notches, like that. And so things are nice and even. We'll cut another one, and I'll use this as a that is really crooked. Let's make a better one. Let's make a better one. I'll just keep cutting triangles until I get the right one. That's what I'm gonna do.
Is it advisable to have a couple of those little squares of cardboard?
Yeah,
In case you
pretty much.
accidentally- Okay.
Yeah. And you only need the 1 ply. Some people like to use the 2 ply for other terrain pieces, and that's recommended for terrain, like if you're gonna make D&D tiles for your dungeon, and we can cover that on a future stream, but basically not using the double corrugated, which means basically it'll be look twice this.
Right.
When you paint it, it bends. So you've seen some of my old first time
Yes.
making those tiles.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so now I have 2. They're not perfect right triangles, but they'll work for this purpose. This is driving me crazy. But let me just show you where they're gonna go. They're gonna go right about here, between the logs.
Right.
Should have used a glue gun, even though all the toxins
Use glue guns
would
on the,
kill us.
On the wood, right?
I could have, yeah.
So that would help just for
Speed
those watching.
it along, yeah.
Yeah, you could switch the glue gun once you're not applying it directly to the.
Exactly, because you are gonna
base.
cover the chinks of that inside with sand,
Right.
a mixture of sand and glue. So yeah, you could switch to that, and that would speed it up a little bit. Okay, but if you're gonna do an hour-long crafting program on how to make a hut, I might have words with you. Where'd I go? Okay, I have these 2 pieces. This is my
The exact same details except hot glue gun.
yeah.
When you can use it.
There you go. Okay, so now I've got 2 pumpkin eyes. Oh, look, they're smiling. Aw. Okay, so now we're gonna take the raffia. Now, what is raffia, you ask? It's this stuff. People make bows out of it. They use it for stuffing a scarecrow. I don't know what they do with this stuff. I just buy it.
Just buy it.
Yeah.
Some people use it for packing. I think I've seen that.
Packing? Maybe, I guess so. Anyway, we're gonna cut strips of it for various things. We're gonna make the roof. I'm gonna move this out of the way because I don't want to bump it. I'm being very flamboyant with my instructions here, and it just may go everywhere. Okay, so I'm gonna take the raffia, and I'm gonna just basically cut little pieces of it and glue it all along both sides of the triangle like that. Okay, so I'm gonna do that real quick, and I have to do that with glue. With regular glue, you don't want to use the glue gun because it's lumpy. And it just won't go over as well. But this won't take as long because it's not wood. It's not. It's like paper thin. Well,
Okay.
a little bit thicker than paper,
Okay.
like cardstock thin. So I'm gonna cut a bunch of that. What? Oh, thank you. Oh, that's why we pay her the big bucks. Good job. Wait, she gets paid? How'd that happen? Okay, so I'm just cutting up a bunch of these little bits here. Probably should have had one of these done already. This is a 4-hour stream, right?
Give us a story for us.
I don't have another story. If I did, I'd give away the plot.
Just reveal the entire history of your world.
I can't do that. That would then why play? Alright, well, let's glue these on right now. I have decided that this is the base, and we want to make sure that they go vertically on the base. This is the base of it, and they're going to go vertically up.
Now, does that look like panels, basically?
Well, it's just not to look like
Cardboard.
or raffia sideways. Yeah, it's basically just to look like the raffia he has used straw. That's the idea. Is it's supposed to look like straw.
Okay.
Like he's used a bundle of straw to make a roof for his hut.
Okay, and that's just part of it.
Right, and that's just kind of part of it. Now, what I did on the original hut, which would have taken a lot longer, is I actually made wood.
Right. So
I
you
filled
actually
in,
cut wood. Yeah.
and that was just going to take way too long. So this one looks just as nice, and it's not going to take as long. Also, this one's door doesn't open, so I improved that.
But if you're feeling adventurous,
Yeah.
go for it.
If you want to, go for it. So I'm just going to glue this down. Just get the glue everywhere. I'm not going to use Gorilla Glue, Jamie, because that stuff explodes. Oop, almost put it up right. Thank you.
I was laughing though when the glue rolled over your
Yeah.
triangle.
Start again.
Got it.
Okay. We're not doing SpongeBob quotes tonight?
No, I guess
I
not.
love SpongeBob. He's my favorite. He's one of my favorites.
Or are you mad, Patrick? I can't see my forehead.
Okay. That's a reason to be mad.
Didn't he also have a plank nailed?
Yeah.
Probably.
He was trying to like build something. He somehow nailed a plank on his forehead.
Actually, that feels like me right now. Because this is not wanting to stay down. It's all on my fingers and
Do
sticky.
you have a lot of that overlapping? Because if you
Oh,
do,
yeah.
wouldn't you want to put a little more glue on top of that then?
Well,
Or are you just hoping that it's enough to not worry about it?
it was seeping through, and I thought it would stick. And we're gonna paint these also,
Okay, so
that's
that'll
gonna
help
that's gonna
hold
make
down.
it stick as well. Because you can see this is definitely a lighter color than the
Right.
finished
Oh, yeah,
product.
Yeah, I
project.
figured you were
Yeah.
gonna do something like that.
Yeah. Now the raffia bundles itself up and gets really tight, like at this end, and you're not gonna want to use that, but you're gonna save it, and I'll explain why toward the end. So we're gonna cut two little pieces of that because this part is gonna work great for what we need at the end. But we do need this thicker piece here that's easier to glue, and it won't take as long to dry. This part here. Let me just cut some more of that.
All that willowy stuff.
Yeah. So I'm gonna cover both of these sides, and then set it aside and do this other side later. I'm not going to make you sit through both sides of that.
I was actually wondering how much of this you had like in stages.
Well, I made this one the other day, and it took a while, but I didn't think it took longer than an hour. But apparently, it did, because there's no way I could have finished that in this time that I have.
Well, also when you're making it, you know, when you're free time, you're not explaining how to do it and showing off tools and
Right.
You know.
Right.
If you're showing off tools to yourself, well, we have a different problem.
We have another whole different problem there. Someone needs to put me away. I don't know. I'd call that R&R. Rest and relaxation.
Ah, yes.
Ah, yes. Okay. All right. So I'm just gonna finish covering both of these, one sides of these, and I will go ahead and I will finish the project, but then I will go back and finish this part later, because I want to give this part a chance to dry and at least show you what one side will look like. And you know what, if you choose not to have the roof removable, the other side doesn't matter.
That's true.
So, but what fun is that?
For looks, external
right.
looks.
But what if there's a grand adventure happening inside the cabin?
In a 10 by 15.
Well, you never know. You could be like, who was it the other, when we were playing D&D, who blocked the door to the inn, couldn't get down the stairs?
Oh, yeah.
You stood at the top of the stairs and couldn't get down?
I think that was the cleric.
It was the cleric.
All alone, upstairs with bad guys. Yeah, that was smart.
Yeah. I killed him.
You did?
I did. He fell. They revived him. It's okay. Alright, so I'm going to set those aside and move on to the next step. And that is assembling more raffia. Yay! Okay, did I say that with a hitch in my voice? Okay, so now we're going to take a stick, and this stick needs to be, there's actually two of them. There's the brace that goes from the top of the triangles, the peak of the triangles, and then there's also the one that goes here. And this needs to be a little bit thicker, because this has to really, we're going to use a glue gun for this. This needs to be very sturdy and supportive, because this thing doesn't bend. We're going to bend it as we work, but it doesn't break. It's pretty cool. So, I have found this stick here, and we're going to measure, where to put it? It's about right to about there. So I'm going to cut it right there.
So like what, 4 inches?
Yes.
All the side you're taking off.
Yeah. Now, I also chose this thickness from the yard when I was out picking sticks off my side yard, because in the back of the log cabin, of course, there is a tiny little itty bitty.
Turn around.
Which way? This way?
Yeah.
Little chopping log there, like a trunk of a tree that has been chopped off, and he's using it as a chopping block, and there's this little pile of wood that he's got going there.
Details.
I know. So I'm saving this to show you how to do that later, and that will require the Dremel with the cutting bit. All right, so I have my roof brace there, the center part, and more raffia. Now, this is where it gets a little nuts here. I chose dollar store raffia, which means it is a hot mess. So I need to stretch it out and try to make it as flat as I can, because I need about 7 inches. 7-inch strips. So let me just cut the end here and start measuring 7-inch strips. There we go, right to there. Once I get some down, then I can just continue. So I'm going to do that, and they're a little bit longer because I know I'm going to mess up, and some of it's going to shrink into itself and not be as. There we go, right to about there. And I'm going to keep going until I have a width of about 4 inches, and again, that's to cover this part of the roof.
So the 7 inches of that
that's
stuff goes across the whole
Yeah,
top.
that's the left and right side.
Okay.
Now, when I made this the first time, it was slim pickings. It didn't cover the whole stick, and there were definite gaps in the roof. Now, story-wise, since they didn't discover this for many, many years after Barsom had already died, and it had long been abandoned, a gap in the roof would be not out of place for the story. However, because I might use this for other adventures, I decided to just go ahead and fill it in with additional pieces of raffia. So you can always add more later. All right, let me just get this mess out of here. Okay. So now this is about 4 inches. There's probably going to be some gaps, but that's okay. I'm just going to try to stretch this out. You can get raffia at a lot of craft stores. It's not that expensive. I found a bundle at the dollar store. It was actually 3 bundles. And that's not too bad. Yeah, this is not going to be enough, but it'll serve the purpose of showing you how to do it. So it's about 4 inches wide, because that's about the size of what we've got here. And we're going to put it right down the center. We're going to put a line of glue from the hot glue gun there. And again, I love my glue gun. I love the Sure Bonder. And I always use clear glue sticks because it really hides the glue. Yeah, I'm gonna have to add more, definitely.
Yeah, I can see that. The end didn't get quite as much love there.
Yeah, that's okay. It's a lot easier to add once you have most of it on there.
Okay.
And I've also made it thick enough to where once I put this down, it didn't stick to my my cutting board. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so I've got that on both sides, and that's good enough. Once the glue stops being so hot and burning you, you can then fold this in like that.
Aha.
And just give it a pinch. And there's some that aren't going to stick, but that's okay. You can glue them in later. And now we have what looks like more the beginning of, well, it could be a spider. But you have the beginnings of your roof, sort of. It's a very, very sad little roof, but we're going to add more to it. That's fine. Okay, so now, in my instructions, I actually had you painting this part first and then adding these sticks, but that would take too long to dry. So if you do become a patron of the Elder Mystic level or higher, you do get these full color with lots of pictures, PDF files on how to create these, all the projects I do every other week. And you can make them yourself and follow the directions, which are definitely a lot more clear than some of these instructions here. Okay, so I'm going to actually leave this the same length as the stick here, and that is because we're going to add more. Now we may end up cutting some off the end. That's fine. I'd rather have more than less at that stage, but that's what we're going to do. We're also going to move this down about 3/4 inches here to here, and then again from here to here. So let me do this one first. And again, this one can be done with a glue gun. Actually, Clover, can you run and get me a couple of clear glue sticks? Because I didn't bring an extra one down.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so let's put that there. Be careful, don't burn yourself. Oh, I love a glue gun. It really, really, really forms a good seal. The other reason why I use a hot glue gun, and this is actually very important on this step, is because when we paint the raffia, we're going to be mixing a variety of those brown colors to make the roof color, like here. But we're going to, because we want it to soak in and not have to worry about painting every single stick of it, is we're going to water it down. And unfortunately, all-purpose glue is water-based, which makes it easy to clean. Thank you, sweetie. And it will actually loosen the glue, but if you use a glue gun, it won't loosen it. So that's another reason to use a glue gun.
My head, I heard Goose in the Loo.
Lulu, goose maloo. Okay, so another 3/4 inch down there. And now it's beginning to look more like a
So how do you know that that's a good length for the roof?
I don't. We might have to trim both sides. I don't
Okay.
know. I'm just making it bigger than I think I need it because it's better than making it smaller than I need it.
Right. Okay.
Um,
So you might actually potentially need more or even less of those braces that you put on there.
well, I know that the distance is not going to be very long. Traditionally, in the 3 I've made, they've been about that long. Oh, look at that. I'm almost perfect there.
Yeah, right. Very.
Wow. That's why I get paid the big bucks. I gotta quit saying that. No one gets paid jack here. Okay, so
Twisted's here, and he says one of these days I'm gonna come and see this in person.
who's this?
Twisted.
Oh yeah, hey Alton. Glad you're here. Okay. Let's do the other side. On the other side, Patsy. Okay. He just wants me to DM for him.
Well, he's already got me about to DM for him.
Awesome.
We're doing an online game soon.
Cool. You doing Roll20?
I don't know what we're doing exactly.
Oh, alright, well.
It's gonna involve Discord and Discord. That's all I know.
Alright, so again, I'm gonna do this part and we're gonna add a couple to show you how it's done, but then we're gonna let it then we're gonna move on to the next step because once you get the gist of it, there's no reason to sit here and watch me craft without learning anything new. You've learned this part, and that's cool. Alright, and I've gotten glue gun parts all over my cutting board, but it comes right off, so that's good. Alright, so there's the braces all attached with the glue gun. I'm going to squeeze it again. I want it to eventually kind of become natural roof shaped here. And we're going to set that aside. Wait, let me just double check. Maybe we're not going to set that aside. Maybe we're going to paint it next. Yes. Now we paint! Yay! We paint. Okay. I'm going to get some paper towels. Because this is messy. And we're going to take the 3 colors, like I had before. And we're going to mix them here in the center of my palette, my very, very messy palette. Yes, I can do that. How about that? Okay. And all just different colors here.
Worry about us seeing an amazing mixture blend.
Yeah,
Something.
sort of a artsy thing going there. Alright, then I have a very large paintbrush, and I'm going to water it down like I said, which means basically just taking some water from your water thing there. Reserve, yeah. Just going to mix it up and just slap it on there. Uh-oh, that one's loose.
So I think you had a couple, that's alright.
That's alright.
In the event that you do have loose ones, how would you go about just brace to the glue?
Yeah, they
Or,
actually...
wow, glue to the brace?
The paint will actually hold it in place.
Oh, that's right.
The paint will act as a bit of a sealer glue type thing. We're gonna paint the other side as well. Both sides. Both favorites.
Both are good.
Both are good.
The glue's a little more favorite.
Yeah, glue's, yeah. Actually, I think I need some more darker brown for this. And I didn't really get that poor part. Looks like a
Well,
wall
this can be your
spot.
decrepit one. You know what I mean?
This is the one. Oh, I could change
I
roofs
was
out.
gonna say you can just switch out roofs. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
SMRT.
SMRT. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the other side. I do need some more paint though. Yeah, this could be the part of the roof that caved in the middle of their resting there overnight before they discover the chest underneath the bed. Oh no, I've given too much away.
What bed?
Oh, there's a bed. See?
Well, in that one, I thought we were okay.
Yeah, we're not building a bed. That's gonna take too long. If you want to get in,
Oh no, I meant like in our adventure. I thought we weren't. Which hut are we using?
Oh, I don't know. The one with
I
the.
just realized I had multiple of these.
I have lots of these. It's a whole village up there. He invited friends. They had a party.
It's like it's not just his grandfather.
His cousin. Several aunts and uncles. It's a whole party.
They all play D&D. It's great.
Yeah. Well, they play, what is it called? Paper and pencil. Or people and pencils.
Papers and
or-
paychecks.
yeah, paper. Yeah, that's what it is. You started with P.
pencils and paychecks.
I knew I started with P's, yeah. Boring.
Your boss approaches you.
No! Critical
It
fail.
rolls an intimidation check.
Yeah. You got Clover giggling over there. Okay, and then I'm gonna set this aside. We're setting a lot of stuff aside here.
Are you almost done with your work? Roll persuasion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Critical fail, you get
Critical
fired. you
fail.
lose
I'm
the
gonna
game.
clean my hands. Oh, look at that. Me, I'm getting so clever. Washing my hands. Okay. Wipes. Put that down on the list for the next time I need hand wipes. Okay, so we're gonna set that
That should just
aside.
come with the paint.
Yeah. Okay, set that aside. And then, these are mostly dry. I say that as things fall off. These are mostly dry, but I didn't obviously do the other side. But we're going to go ahead and paint this side as well.
Because we're
Actually, you know what? I would have cut it after the paint dried, but I'm going to cut it now to show you how it's done.
good. No, you don't get paint all over your
Yeah,
scissors.
that way I don't get paint all over my scissors. Right here. Right here. This is good. So I'm just going to cut this off here.
With a good visualization of indecision.
Someone gift that for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so I guess I could have gone from this side, eh? There's like Canada showing through. Eh? Okay. There! So that is what this part looks like before it's painted.
Right.
Alright. Angles. Okay, so then while you've still got paint out there, wet paint before it dries up or your brush gets all sticky, we're gonna paint that. And again, we would
planning this out. I mean, like in terms of your PDF or what have you. Is it planned out better in terms of like make sure you have both sides done before you paint?
Oh
before you
yeah, no,
start
the
painting?
PDF basically
Goes
means
into-
can you take all day to do this and
Okay.
set this aside to dry, come back to it when it is dry.
Right.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
it's
good.
very clear about that.
Just want to make sure.
yeah,
For
yeah.
the sake of those watching.
Yeah, no, this is not an instant thing, unfortunately. And the other unfortunate thing is, unless I make this stream hours long, which nobody wants,
Right.
I will have to find other projects or maybe do. And speaking of that, I have an announcement at the end of this stream.
I will do my best to remind you.
Yes. So yes, remind me of that. That's I just brought up a very important reminder to myself on that. Okay, so we're gonna set these aside to dry. I've rinsed this off mostly, and we'll move on to the next step, and that is the door. Because we don't want to get into the sanding part yet. That is a disaster. All right, so let me set this aside. I got my Vox Machina shirt on. No one can see it.
It's okay. The beginning of the stream on YouTube.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so what did I say? Oh, the door. Now, here's where those other little itty bitty pieces are coming in handy. What's our time? No, we've already passed, aren't we?
I was attempting to write you a note.
Yeah, we're already past. I'm gonna have to. We're gonna have to stop and finish this next time, I guess.
You think so?
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to.
Okay.
I
Well,
have a
you know
lot.
What we could do?
I have a lot more to go.
You know what we could do?
What's that?
Is we could go ahead and end it, but we could actually finish on the recording and post to YouTube, and it's like, you know,
Let's just do part 1 and part 2.
part 1, part 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the reason why is because maybe I can talk you into letting me do this next week. And we'll just finish it next week and have it weekly instead.
Yeah, that could be cool.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Why don't we do that? Because I really want to show everyone how to make this properly. Because this was, to me, one of the more fun, kind of creative processes that I've done. I
Right.
really want to show them the way the door opens and closes. I want to show them how to put the
We want to go into more detail.
yeah.
That makes sense.
So why don't we do that? I underestimated how long this would take, and so I really want to show this being done properly.
Right. Everyone here is still learning in terms of streaming, so it's
Exactly.
totally, you know, understandable.
Exactly. So that's what we're gonna do. So next time was the next stream I was gonna have was gonna be on August 7th, and that was
that's my cue.
and that's still going to be the Feywild Bridge. I have a picture here. If you don't have it on,
Well, no, I'll have it in a second. There it is.
I'll have the Feywild Bridge, which some of you saw on my terrain piece when I made my OG trees. This takes a lot of log splitting, and that'll be on August 7th. But next week, why don't we finish this project?
Right.
Let's do that.
Are you doing this the second?
Yes, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna show off the second one because I like that one even more. Then here's my big announcement. Starting on August 21st, regardless of how many patrons I have, I am gonna start streaming weekly because I love doing this. I absolutely love doing this. But it won't be an hour-long project. It will be a series. And the first of the series will be my mushroom village, my giant mushroom village. Let me show you. I can't wait to show you.
Just so excited.
I am so excited. This is part of it. I know you're only seeing it from the top down.
The image is up too.
Okay, good. Sorry, right here?
Other side. More or less.
Okay,
yes.
whatever. So this is my giant mushroom. This is only 2 pieces of the set, actually. And where's my little guy? Where's Barsum? There he is. Whoops.
Oh, he's so heavy.
He's a metal mini. Plastic minis. Yeah, he's one of the old. He's one of from the very old sets.
Right.
But
So what you're saying is we need to make sure we add
well, Barson's dead, so we have to
padding on the bottom of these things so that when people walk across them,
Yeah.
you know, bring the mushrooms closer together.
Yeah, but I'll show you how to build the mushrooms out of a styrofoam cup and some popsicle sticks and some paper towels. And I'm really excited about this, and this will become a weekly series. I obviously cannot do this in a week, but I was excited to show you this. I made these little stairs going up here.
Like
mushroom stairs,
stems.
like little fungi coming out the side. More support and stuff. This is gonna take a long time, so I want to do this as a longer stream. So I will finish next week with the dwarf hut, and then we'll move on to the Feywild Bridge, and then we will start a series weekly on the giant mushroom village, and I'm really excited about that. I want to make sure to thank all of my Dragonkin family, my producer Drake, the artists who support me, all of you guys out there who watch the stream and give me retweets and love on Twitter. I really appreciate it, and I just want to say thank you.
Okay, let me swap over. Oh.